Okay, so today we're doing a deep dive into something really interesting, I think. Blend of history, ambition, tragedy, and maybe even the supernatural.
Hmm.
And we're talking about the Manila Film Center,
Okay. Yeah.
a building in the Philippines. Imelda Marcos had this vision to put the Philippines like right on the map, in terms of global film.
Right.
And this was going to be the building.
Yeah. Imelda Marcos. Right.
Yeah.
And this is, during the Marcos regime. The film center, it's more than just like a building, right? This is a story about ambition, but also about some pretty dark secrets.
Yeah.
And maybe some ghost stories.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely some chills coming your way.
Hmm.
So, imagine it's the early 1980s.
Right.
Imelda Marcos. She makes this huge announcement, right?
Yeah.
She wants to have this international film festival in Manila.
Big plans.
Huge.
Yeah.
And they need a place for it.
Of course.
They need a venue, a big one.
Naturally.
And they need it fast.
Right. Yeah.
Because the festival, this is scheduled for January 1982, and construction on the Manila Film Center begins in 1981.
Yeah. That's not a lot of time.
No, not at all.
That is ambitious.
Yeah, and it was just this massive undertaking.
Yeah.
And to meet the deadline, they had people working around the clock.
Oh, wow.
Hundreds of workers on site, just day and night.
Yeah, you can imagine the pressure.
Right. And then on November 17th, 1981, oh man, this is where it gets tragic.
Okay.
There was a scaffolding collapse, and over 100 workers fell right into the wet cement.
Oh, my goodness.
So actually, this is when things get a little unclear. The official accounts, they're all over the place.
Right. I imagine there's a lot of misinformation flying around, probably.
Oh, yeah. Some people, they downplay how many people died.
Mm-hmm.
Other people, and these are rumors, but persistent rumors say that workers were trapped in the cement.
Oh, gosh.
And that construction just
I
continued.
for them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awful.
It's so murky. And it's hard to know what's fact, what's not. But, it just adds to the whole mystery around this place.
Absolutely. And it also raises some ethical questions, right?
Yeah.
About priorities. If they did keep building over these people just to get this project done on time.
I mean, can you imagine?
It's a tough one.
It's hard to even think about.
Yeah.
But despite all of this, the building was finished.
Wow.
In time for the festival.
They got it done.
They did. But it's this grand event, this celebration of Filipino cinema, but with this cloud hanging over it.
Right. Yeah. Did the festival go on as planned?
Yeah, it did. And they screened a bunch of different films. It's interesting, though, even some films that were critical of the Marcos regime were shown.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So they weren't censoring everything?
No, not entirely.
Okay. Interesting.
Then when the Marcos regime fell in 1986, the film center was basically abandoned.
Okay.
It just fell into disrepair. And that's when the ghost stories really started.
That makes sense. A building with a tragic past left alone to rot. It's almost asking for ghost stories.
Right.
It's ripe for it.
Yeah. And people started reporting all kinds of crazy stuff. Whispers, shadowy figures, even feeling like unseen hands touching them. It's wild. It makes you wonder, why are we so drawn to these kinds of stories,
Well, I think places where something awful has happened, they kind of invite those explanations.
Yeah.
We want to understand. We want a narrative. And sometimes, the most exciting story is the supernatural one.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Makes it more interesting, right?
Yeah, for sure. So what about the Manila Film Center today? What's going on over there?
Well, it's still standing like this, faded kind of monument to its past. And some people have tried to restore it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but that history, you can't really erase that, right?
No, you can't. It's like a reminder, that even the most ambitious projects can have consequences you just don't expect. And that the stories we tell about a place, they can be just as powerful as what actually happened there.
That's a good point. Even if we dismiss the ghost stories, can you really separate a place from what happened there? This knowing about the tragedy, even now, does that change how you see the building? It's interesting to think about.
Yeah, really interesting. It's this whole idea of ambition and progress and what we leave behind. It just makes you think.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It really does.
Thanks for diving into this with me.
Oh, of course. Thanks for having me.
It was fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely.
To our listeners, thanks for joining us. Keep thinking about the Manila Film Center. And until next time, keep on exploring.
Yeah, and stay curious.
Stay curious.
Bye.
Bye.